Friday Chinatown became a staple in the city pop movement. But do you know the full story behind the song? It's among the most streamed city pop tracks today, but it was far from a hit when it was first released in the 80s. What's more intriguing than the song itself is the person behind it. From having family ties to a Pokemon to featuring in a wrestling match, Yasuha was far from a one-hit wonder. So let's take a look at the story behind both Yasuha and her most iconic song. In 1961, Yasuha Abina was born in Tokyo. She learned classical music as a child and grew up surrounded by entertainers. The majority of her family members are rakugokas, those who perform the traditional style of Japanese comedy called rakugo. It features a seated speaker that only uses their expressions and two props. Rakugo stories consist of dialogue between two or more characters, and always end up with some sort of punchline. Yasuha's father was one of the most influential rakugokas of his time, so much so that the Pokemon Wobbuffet was an homage to him. Wobbuffet's name in Japanese is very similar to Sanpei's famous punchline, and his iconic pose is also inspired by Sanpei. Yasuha wasn't interested in learning to perform rakugo, but rather music. She became a musician after high school despite her parents' objections. Since Yasuha was rejected by every music university she applied to, the only other option was to go independent. And in 1981, she made her debut with Friday Chinatown. The song peaked at number 69 on the Oricon Weekly Singles Chart, and stayed on the chart for 19 weeks. It was somewhat successful, selling around 56,000 copies, and was supposedly based on Yasuha's travels abroad, most likely in California. The actual Chinatown she refers to is likely in Yokohama, and the cover photo was taken in front of this bar in the area. Friday and Friday are both written as Friday in Japanese, so if you don't know English, you'd have to guess whether it'd be an L or R when translated. Friday seems to be the more logical fit, so whether Yasuha picked Friday intentionally or as a mistake is something we'll never know. By the end of the year, Yasuha released her first album. It's a mix of jazz and pop that was influenced by American artists like Billy Joel. Over the next 5 years, Yasuha continued to release new albums and singles, but none of them were able to match the success of her debut song. She also wrote songs for other artists, most notably Moto Charleston, which peaked at number 16 in the Japanese charts. Besides music, Yasuha was a television personality that appeared in several TV and radio programs. She notably hosted 2 variety shows, but otherwise there's very little information about these activities online. In 1988, Yasuha retired from the entertainment industry after marrying Shimpute Kawasa, who's ironically a rakugoka. She then shifted her focus to supporting Kawasa's production company and helping her family with their rakugo activities behind the scenes. Fast forward to November 12th of 2007. A press conference took place at Tokyo's Imperial Hotel, announcing the pair's divorce and the relaunch of Yasuha's entertainment career. It seems like their marriage was more for publicity than a genuine connection between them. Yasuha received a lot of negative attention for some of her actions towards Kawasa following their split, and so she tried to capitalize on all this publicity to help her make a full-time return to entertainment. She claimed that Kawasa's alimony of 150 million yen was too little, and she also referred to him in a very unkind manner. She eventually published a book about their divorce and later featured in a professional wrestling match with Yoji Anjo. In the following year, Yasuha started a blog and a record label, where she released her first single after 22 years. However, she went on hiatus in 2010. She eventually started performing at dinner shows and making music again in 2016. Over the next few years, Yasuha was engaged twice and also converted to Islam. In 2021, Yasuha announced that she would be taking a hiatus to address her bipolar disorder.
私の病気は双極性障害
And so it seems that her music career has likely come to an end. So when exactly did the internet rediscover Yasuha's music? It started around 2020, but even before that, many popular Japanese artists were covering her most iconic song. It was widely used in TikTok dance videos and even gained attention because some felt there was a resemblance between the voice of Yasuha and Killua from Hunter x Hunter. We eventually got remixes from artists like Evade from Uchu and Night Tempo. In 2022, Universal Music released an official lyric video for the song, and reissued a 7-inch single of Friday Chinatown and a vinyl version of Transit. And that's pretty much all there is to Yasuha's story. There isn't much info about her online, so if I missed any important details or misinterpreted anything, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching.